away at their responsibilities to obtain a social benefit. By the way, the reason they were created was primarily to advance our social well-being by creating bridges or highways or railroads when the liability would have been so high because in constructing those, people were injured and killed quite often. But in order to keep up with the Industrial Revolution, they needed a non-human entity to be able to absorb the liability. So they created corporations. And over time, the legal responsibility of the corporation shifted from a social benefit to a fiduciary responsibility to focus on profit as their primary motivation. So corporations ain't what they used to be. And I don't. Corporations as a concept are not necessarily bad, but fundamentally flaws. And I say that because my wife is a corporation, and I don't want her to be angry with me. But she doesn't want her corporation to spend independent expenditure money. I mean, that's not her goal in life. But the fundamental driving force behind corporations is greed. And that's why at the peak of the protections on corporations to provide them with, to shield them from anything other than striving to obtain profit, we see the widest gap between the haves and the have-nots. And I believe there's a direct correlation between the two. So I'm also reminded of Hal in 2001 Space Odyssey. I never understood Hal when I was a young teenager and that movie came out. I never quite understood what the heck was Hal. But Hal was corporation. Hal was greed. It was an entity that shielded itself from the human beings that created it. And it continued to expand its power until the human beings had no more property. So I'm very pleased that Councilmember Garcetti and Bill Rosendahl introduced this resolution. I'm very happy to add the amendments to it that were recommended by the people. Because I don't want to see Mickey Mouse running for president.
Again.
That is theoretically in the future. Could a corporation run for president?
It already did.
If they
won.
If they can define themselves as human beings, then they could define themselves as a political candidate. And I believe the Supreme Court erred, and we have to stand up against what I believe is a growing frustration that we are not controlling those things that are destroying our quality of life. Quality of life being a strong middle class with decent economic resources to be able to provide a home, good education, good health to their children, and that's all. Not mansions with elaborate swimming pools. I mean, nothing wrong with, it used to be millionaires, and now it's billionaires. Well, we had something like 70,000 millionaires in Los Angeles, and they're not even in the 1%. Most of them. When we talk about 1%, we're talking about a lot of money. It's unfathomable. I can't even say the word. So with that, it's my pleasure to send this on to City Council with a recommendation for approval with the amendments as stated. We'll work with the City Clerk to get the language correct? And there is no other council member here, so this will be a communication from the chairman and will be considered in council at the next opportunity.
Thank you. If anybody wants to, us to